I have been trying for years to do this, and I'm finally committing. I'm Addy, and this is Liminal Musings, a series here on Lost Saves wherein I dedicate myself to actually producing classic gameplay commentaries at least once a week for the next year. We're starting here at the start of October when I originally set this up in 2023. I've got a few older ones I'm kind of re-releasing from the backlog from my older channels that I think they're still relevant today, even if some of the details about where I'm at in my career aren't accurate anymore. They're just side notes. And I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to do some of this in bulk. I'm going to try to not YouTubeify it. It's YouTube videos, but it's the classic way. I'm going to try not to go all like clickbaity, min-maxing, whatever, but I am going to try to do it in bulk because I have ADHD. I generate tons of ideas at once, and then I burn out on the concept, and I want to be able to be consistent with this format. And that's what this is going to be about. It's just going to be about talking about what matters to me, talking about the feelings I have, answering your questions. I will have an email address and a Google form if you want to anonymously submit things or, questions or whatever to talk about. I've done this before. I used to run a show called Vox Talks over on my main channel and a few other things like it. It usually goes pretty well, pretty good time. I want to have a space for this kind of format to exist. And I know I've been trying this for years. I started YouTube when gameplay commentaries were actually before then, but I really got invested in YouTube when the original gameplay commentary format from St. Andrews Hutch, Blame Truth, Sark, Wings of Redemption, X-Jaws, White Boy, whatever. All of those people were coming up. That's when I really got invested into doing YouTube myself. And so I obviously participated heavily back then. And then over the years, I've tried to kind of reinvigorate the formula. The problem is I've never stuck with it. So some of the throwback commentaries I'm going to include here are things I still think are important to talk about today, but are from freaking 2018 when I was trying to do it again. The problem is the consistency. I was, at the time, hosting to a channel that was basically dead. It's now called Epos VODs. It's my VOD channel for my streams at this point. It is my original kind of quote-unquote full-time channel. From back in the day, I had a big channel before that and a bunch of little ones before that, but it was the big one I was running for a while. But I drove that channel into the ground. Like we all played dumb sub for sub games back in the day. I switched niches a million times. I abandoned it in 2012 for my main Epos Fox channel. And just kind of let that channel be a wasteland. And I'd upload random clips, random video ideas. I'd try to revive it. But with YouTube channels, after you get to a certain point, you can't really get momentum on them anymore after they've been around for a while and you have enough dead subscribers and all of that. There's a lot of YouTube technical stuff that goes into it. And I was trying to redo this format on that channel and nothing really went anywhere. And thus I couldn't stick with it for a very long time, on top of the fact that I was just really inconsistent at that point in my life. Anyway, fast forward to today, we have this lovely Lost Saves channel that I've still not been super consistent with, but I'm working on it. This series is one way to go, but it's also a newer, fresher channel, and I wanna stick with it. I wanna actually have a weekly thing where one of the things I'm gonna talk about is that you can't just micromanage your viewership, especially as a new creator or posting to a small channel, and you have to accept and work with delayed gratification. I'm not going to post a couple of these videos and suddenly everyone who cares about this older format is going to flock to me. That's not really how it works. Instead, it's got to be weekly. It's got to be weekly for a year or 2 years. And then we'll see. We'll reevaluate in a couple years where things are. But we have to sit with it for that long. And so I already have an idea that fills like my entire notebook page of a list of ideas. I don't know what I just said. I already have a list of ideas that already feels like an entire notebook page. On top of the fact that I just have all these ideas and things I want to talk about kind of front-loaded in the first place, and the fact that I go through phases where I get super freaking busy and can't keep up with these kind of more frivolous side projects, and they immediately go to the wayside, and then it is that much harder to start them back up. I'm going to batch a lot of these out. They're still going to be relevant. They're still going to be timely, evergreen stuff. But then I'm going to intersperse those with a couple throwbacks I have, and then your all's questions, your all's topics you want to see, some advice, opinions, thoughts on, whatever. That way, we're keeping it fresh, but we're also making sure that even when I have my off weeks, because time is something I have a really rough relationship. Time moves so freaking quickly, especially now that I'm a parent. my kid was already born 3 years ago, and that doesn't make sense to me. Like, it was just 2019. The concept of a week does not exist in my life. Between not having a traditional work schedule, having a kid, all of this stuff, the idea that I could regularly do something on a weekly basis that is not the highest of highest priorities for me is virtually impossible. So I'm going to make a bunch of these in advance, but one of the exercises here is for me to not post more than once a week until I'm like really set in this routine, or until I have like way too many scheduled in advance. Because what I often do is like, oh yeah, I'm going to stick to this content. I'm going to make it for a long time. And I have all these ideas and I just can't wait to post them. I've got so many ideas. I just want to post this one now. And it seems fine. But the problem is I let them all out way too soon, because like I just posted at the time of recording, I just posted my first kind of comeback commentary to this show, which by the way is available as a YouTube podcast. The playlist is linked in the description, and I will be working on getting it set up as an actual podcast very soon. All those links will be added to the description. I just posted my first like, hey, I'm back video, and it was actually from January of this year, 2023, from something that had happened and affected my life and kind of got in the way of me working on this commentary format, because I had this one I knew I wanted to post, and it was just kind of a roadblock for me. But immediately, you know, it's been 24 hours. There was a nice wave. It actually performed decently well. But I already have that itch 24 hours later because of the way YouTube works. Well, I have others. I already have a few of these backlog ones scheduled up. I want to go ahead and push them so I can see what you all think. I can get your thoughts. I can get that dopamine hit of seeing the views go up. And ultimately, because I'd be posting too frequently back to back, and it's the weekend and whatever, I would honestly be let down and disappointed because it wouldn't perform as well or better, because every video doesn't just keep performing better than the last one. That's not how it works. And thus, I would be doing myself a major disservice. I would be demotivating myself from the act, the plan, the consistency, and I'd just run out of pre-scheduled videos too soon, which makes more work for me in the long run. So the idea here is that I talk about things that affect me. I'm old now. I'm no longer the 12-year-old on the internet like I was when I started doing commentaries. I am old. I have life experiences. I don't have as many as some people, but I have life experiences. I've, dealt with struggle and heartache and heartache. And, I've got ADHD to deal with. I can talk about that. We've got lots of things to discuss. I've got lots of thoughts that flood my mind all the time. I want to get them out. I want to talk about it. And I want to keep this format effectively stale. Like, as weird as it is that my legacy might just be continuing to push completely unsuccessful content, I don't want to evolve this. Like, sometimes there will be a webcam, like the one I posted coming back because I recorded it that way and whatever. Like, sometimes there's that emotional connection, but it's not going to be gamified or whatever. And that doesn't mean there won't be more flashier edited videos on this channel, because that was part of the goal for this Lost Saves channel in the first place. But this specific series, for the most part, doesn't need to be about gaming. I don't want to talk about gaming. I don't want to go for search results. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to be like, gameplay is the medium. It's the vehicle that I'm delivering this through, just because it's comforting to watch for some, and it lets me get my terabytes of gameplay used up and deleted. But it's going to be talking about real things and just using it as the background footage. I hope you're along for the ride. Like I said, I do have a playlist it'll be up on the YouTube podcast as well as just the YouTube playlist if you want to check it out. I will have normal podcast copies available soon. And I hope you enjoy. That's what we're doing here. Like I said, I've tried starting this up. I did it in 2020. I tried it in 2018. I've tried it in 2016. I hit it every few years. And it's always around the same time of year. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. When I start getting nostalgic, when I start looking back and watching the older Sea Nanners videos again, trying to get that comfort food as I kind of slow down towards the end of the year. That's what we're doing here. And I want to provide that to people new, to people who don't want to watch the same commentary for 10, 15 years ago from a guy that doesn't make videos anymore. There's lots of those out there. That wasn't about anyone specifically. I want to keep it fresh or something. Like I said, submit whatever questions or ideas you want to hear. I obviously have plenty of my own. I'm not just begging for you to tell me what to make. But, if you have questions you'd like to hear my thoughts on, if you know me from any of my other work and are curious what I have to say about non-technical topics, put them in the Google form, or I will have an email address for it linked below. And remember to be kind, rewind. I'll try to keep these short in general, like maybe 6 or 7 minutes, but my philosophy for all content is the video takes as long as it takes. See ya.